All right, what is going on, everybody? Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for being a part of the show. The post-game show here. Warriors over the Lakers, 123 to 116, the final score. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. Golden State Warriors dominate? I don't know. I'm not sure how exactly to explain this one, but really had control of the game for almost the entire game. Give the Golden State Warriors a lot of credit. A lot of players did not come through for the Lakers tonight. Offensive rebound, second chance points, a bench that really didn't even exist. So we're going to get into it all tonight. So thank you for hanging out, and thank you for kind of talking this through. And we'll try to do our best to break down what happened tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, I'm here at the arena. Game just ended a few minutes ago, and we'll get a chance to hear from JJ Redick. We'll get a chance to hear from some of the players, but this really, how do I kind of put this as best as I can? Really wasn't much of a game. And I know there were some moments, and I know there were some times, and you could say, maybe Lakers, maybe they're in this game, maybe they have a shot, or maybe they're coming in at the end and something miraculous can happen. But the reality is with this game tonight, Golden State just dominated the game. They controlled the game. When you jump out to a lead like they did, and there's a lot of individuals that I want to talk about, and some of this is on the Lakers, some of this is on the Golden State Warriors, but Lakers only had 22 points in the first quarter. Golden State was up 4, and you already kind of were starting to get a feel like this is a Warriors-style game. By the time you get to halftime, you're down 13 points against a good Golden State Warriors team, clicking on all cylinders. I had Anthony Slater on to The Athletic this morning, and I think Anthony said something to the effect that the Warriors 19-2, I want to say, with Steph and Jimmy Butler. We know they're shooting up the standings. I think at one point they were the number 11 seed. They make the trade, and then now here they are kind of flirting potentially, again, up to that number 4 seed, and maybe even a little bit higher. We'll see what eventually happens. But the Warriors dictated the entire game, control, tempo. Lakers got to play from behind. There's so many different things that I thought they controlled. And when you start looking at individual plays, if you're going to play a team like the Golden State Warriors, who not only have incredible championship pedigree, not only, obviously are they a team that can certainly make some noise in the playoffs, but you can't let them dictate everything. And I thought the Warriors did that tonight. Let me just kind of look at a couple stats I want to point out here. For the Lakers. Lakers only shot 38% from the field. I thought a lot of the shots, especially in the first half, the Warriors were kind of picking and choosing who they wanted to shoot. They were okay with, hey, Rui, take a ton of shots. They were okay with, hey, Vando, take some threes. They were okay with Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, as long as Dorian Finney-Smith isn't hitting, and he wasn't hitting tonight. I thought they dictated. It's almost that they were picking and choosing what they wanted the Lakers to do. And obviously, that certainly had its effect, but it had its effect negatively for the Lakers. Let me look at the box score real quick, because I do want to talk about some of the individual players. And there's a couple things that stick out to me right out the gate. First thing that sticks out to me is, and I'm just going to point out individual players here for a quick second. It was one of the more, how do I put this? Troubling games, if you want to call it, for Luka. Really never got into a rhythm. 6 of 17 from the field, 0 of 6 from the three-point line. National game on TNT. Everybody's obviously expecting a lot from Luka tonight. You didn't get it. He only had 19 points off 17 shot attempts. He had 4 turnovers on top of that. Did have 8 rebounds and 7 assists, but that kind of comes with Luka Doncic. I thought Luka was a very, very small percentage of what Luka needed to be tonight against the Golden State Warriors. By the way, it wasn't just Luka, but Luka's one of those players that you're obviously expecting in any given game, any given night, that Luka's he's gonna be the kind of the lead guy for the Lakers, or if not the lead guy, obviously guy that was going to have an incredible amount of influence in the game. That didn't happen at all. Luka was very disappointing tonight. I thought a lot of the threes he took, there were more times than not he was taking shots that were a little bit how do I put this? They were either forced shots early in the shot clock. I I thought that final possession when Lakers, I think, cut it down to 6, then Luka takes the ball to the basket, and he's trying to get to the basket. Draymond just strips the ball from him, starts talking shit, which you're allowed to do that if, you have a defensive possession like that in a key part of the game. Just Luka never had it going tonight. And it is, by the way, just to kind of set the record straight here, this comes with the territory, right? If I'm to sit here and talk about Luka and if Luka's got a bad game, we got to talk about obviously Luka having a bad game. Just never had a flow tonight. Never felt like he was really impacting the game the way he should be. And, too many times, I know we talked about this looking at referees and everything else. Just not Luka's, not the type of game you needed from Luka tonight. Let me keep going because I think there's a few players that I want to highlight here today as we talk about the Lake Show tonight. The bench for the Lakers. Wow, the bench. Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent in the last game against the Houston Rockets combined for 12 threes. Tonight, Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent combined for 7 points. I mean, the bench was just a no-show for the Lakers, an absolute no-show for the Lakers. And I'm going to go back to what I just said. To beat good quality teams like this, and let me say this, the Golden State Warriors are better than I thought. They're better than I thought. Coming into this game, I had a lot of curiosity. We know when the Lakers, when they had Anthony Davis in the past, the Lakers were always a problem. It's something that actually Anthony Slater mentioned this morning that AD gave the Golden State Warriors a ton of trouble. If you're trying to play the Golden State Warriors style of basketball, and what I'm talking about there is maybe it's a little bit more small ball. We know how small they go. They're kind of the kings of that. They can do that. They're accustomed to kind of playing the style. And if the Lakers are trying to play that style, I know they had Jackson Hayes in there. It's not like it was just completely small ball the entire time. But with that in mind, if you're trying to play that style of basketball, man, the Golden State Warriors made the Lakers work tonight. And when I looked at that Lakers bench, and you need a ton of different guys to contribute, how are you going to beat the Golden State Warriors if the bench is that bad? They just were nowhere tonight. So Luka struggled. I thought the Lakers defensively were all over the place. I thought Golden State really kind of dictated whatever they wanted to do. The offensive rebounding, guys, when, it's interesting because a lot of times when I hear people say the Lakers, maybe they don't. Let me give it a good example. I had Amin Al-Hassan on maybe about a week and a half ago. One of the things Amin said was, I got a difficult time seeing the Lakers can keep playing defense like this, and they just don't have enough size. And every Laker fan takes it personally, like, well, how dare you say that? But I think these are the type of games where at least, we could just pay attention to and we could look at and say, okay, does Amin have a good point come postseason? How much that could be an issue? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's still very, very early, and we still got a lot to figure out with the Lakers. But certainly I thought the defense, predominantly on the perimeter, I mean, the backcourt for the Golden State Warriors, how about this tonight? The backcourt, take Brandon Pajimski and take Steph Curry. 28 for Pajimski, 10 of 17 from the field. He hit 3 threes before most people sat down and grabbed a beer. He had the first 9 points, maybe even had the first 12. I know he had 4 3-pointers, at least 4 3-pointers in the first quarter. I want to say he had 20-plus in the first half. Pajimski on his own had 28, 8, and 6. Steph Curry chipped in with 37 and 6. Between those two players alone, you're over 60 points between those two players. I want to say 65 between those two players. So backcourt alone, look how much the Golden State Warriors were able to do. And I'm looking at some of the highlights here. Pajimski doing what he's doing. I'm just watching the highlights here on Spectrum as we're talking. They had their way with the Lakers, and you really had just a ton of things not go the Lakers' way, unfortunately. And that kind of comes with the territory. Listen, I actually think this in a weird way. You guys ready for my weird angle? Here's my weird angle. Sometimes taking an L like this, puts you a little bit back into perspective. Okay, you know what? We got a long way to go if we're going to beat the Golden State Warriors. Or we got a long way to go if we really, really want to make noise in the Western Conference. Because what I saw tonight from the Golden State Warriors, if we're all looking for if we're all looking for who's the second best team in the West, I think that's up in the air, right? Some people might say, you know what? It's the Lakers. LeBron and Luka, watch out. Other people might say, no, it's Denver because they got Nikola Jokic. And I'm saying second best, obviously the Thunder, the best team. Other people might look at it and say, no, the Houston Rockets deserve. They're literally second place in the standings. Second best team might be the Golden State Warriors. That's a pretty damn good team that we got a chance to watch. Remember, I was saying this during the week. The last thing you want to see if you were in the last thing you want to see coming into the playoffs is you're in the bracket with the Golden State Warriors in the first freaking round, and in the second round you got the Oklahoma City Thunder waiting for you. That's not the bracket that you want to be in. Certainly that's something to pay attention to as we go. All right, let me take a look at some of the comments here. Everybody reacting, everybody angry at each other, everybody cursing each other out, people ready to trade Luka, people, now thinking Nico Harrison fleeced the Lakers. I know everybody's got feelings right now. I get it. Amir, loss aside, that felt like the longest game ever with all the foul calls. Yeah, the NBA has – there's one thing, Amir, that the NBA has not done a good job on. Read the room, the flow of the game. What do people want? What do people want to see? And there's a lot of times when we watch these games, that's not the case. Amir, I do appreciate the super. But that's they got to cram in a lot of commercials there, trying to get a lot of commercials here. Amir with another super. Amir, very, very kind to you, man. I really appreciate that. 20 spot here. That means a lot. Thank you very much for the support of the channel, and thank you for the super. There's something glaring about this team compared to the 2023 team. When the 2023 team could not shoot, they still played hard defense and got to the line. I don't see that with this team so far, hoping for things to change. Yeah, it's really, really hard to compare this team to any of the team over the last 5 years because Anthony Davis isn't there. Anthony Davis was such a different type of player than what Luka is. And the size that the Lakers used to kind of – remember when they won that championship and it's AD and it's JaVale McGee and obviously Dwight Howard and you still had LeBron and Kyle Kuzma's good size. Like, they would just suffocate you. And now they're trying to do it. They got size. They got big dudes. They got a lot of guys that are 6'7", 6'8", 240, 250 pounds, 230 pounds. But they don't have true size, real bigs. And the Golden State Warriors, you don't really think of them as a big team, but they're a physical team. They put a body on you. Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green and Jonathan Kuminga. They got guys that Moses Moody. They got dudes that they're grinding, and they're trying to get tip outs, and they're trying to get that offensive rebound. Every single time it felt like the Lakers could potentially come back in this game, what would happen? The first thing you'd see is some kind of offensive rebound. I think 23 points, 23 second chance points for the Golden State Warriors. That ain't going to get it done. How many more shot attempts did the Warriors have over the Lakers? Take a look here. Actually, Lakers ended up taking more shots, which is actually a little surprising. That's because of free throws. Yeah, Golden State took 31 free throws, so that's part of the reason why. Amir, again, thank you, brother. Very, very kind of you. Greatly appreciate the super. Thank you very much for doing so. I appreciate that. Okay, let me get a couple more comments in here. I know I got some other supers here that I'm going to get to in just a second. I'm going to probably do those after JJ. I want to see everybody else and see what they got to say. Warriors were in complete control. I agree. I said this. There's a media member sitting to my right here, and I'd said probably halfway through the fourth quarter, I'm like, they deserve to win this game. The Warriors deserve to get. That doesn't mean the Lakers couldn't make a comeback at the end, and maybe they can steal one. Can that happen? Of course it can happen. Games like that happen. And if Lakers would have stole one, we would have all, obviously felt good about it, and everybody would have said, all right, well, is what it is. Lakers got the W. Let's move on. They deserve to win the game, and frankly, I didn't feel too good that the Lakers were going to come back and actually get a W. Here's JJ Redick on the Lakers' loss.
What your team was doing against it.
I thought our first shot defense was great throughout the first half. They had 7 offensive rebounds for 12 points in the second quarter. We couldn't score for 6.5 minutes, and I think not surprised that they, switched everything. We expected that. We scored 69 points in the second half against the same defense. I think we just got a little stagnant and didn't want to move. And you got to move. You got to play with force. You got to get to the next thing. Sometimes, and you'll have to ask the guys this. I think sometimes, the expenditure of energy on one end, and you don't have it for the other end. I thought our guys were playing hard on defense in the first half, and then just the second opportunities, and that continued. During our comeback, there were a number of possessions where got to stop, but they ended up getting an offensive rebound and end up scoring on it, or there's a loose ball, they get the loose ball. There was a few plays there, the 88-80 to start the fourth, and we get 2 wide open threes. Maybe that's a momentum change. We just did the big momentum changing sort of stretch. We just couldn't muster, and a lot of that had to do with just the second opportunities.
JJ, Luka just 6 for 17 tonight, and then defensively it felt like they were targeting him a lot in pick and rolls, and even when you guys would maybe put him on someone else, they'd find a way to bring him into the action. What did you make of his night on both sides?
Wasn't his night.
JJ, in the first half when you guys weren't scoring, it seemed like a lot of that was missed threes, but it was like your shot profile seemed to change. Like I want to say like 8 and 9 foot twos, stuff like that. Like, what were they doing on that? Was that anything?
It was not what they were doing. It was what we were doing. And we showed them at halftime the spacing alignments and having the wrong guy in the dunker spot, the wrong guy in the corner. It was not. Again, the structure of what we were trying to do against Reds and what every team tries to do against Reds is create the proper spacing and create the proper next guy and create the proper guys in the corners. And we just didn't have that. And, you end up with turnovers and you end up with a bunch of non-rim twos.
Is that disappointing considering kind of the mentality that you'd kind of ask your team to have in terms of like, we need to play we need to build playoff mentality now, and that's focus and stuff.
Yeah, we're still building it. We're not there.
You mentioned weeks ago, don't remember how long ago, but you mentioned that before the trade in February, you guys were really good against switching. Then you guys went through maybe a little bit of a lull against it. Were you surprised by how much you guys struggled against their switching, at least early on, before you guys seemed to recover and had the second half you did have offensively?
Not surprised. I wouldn't say surprised.
Thanks, Coach.
All right,
we'll keep rolling here. Lakers lose to the Golden State Warriors. Got a lot of comments here we're going to get into, and we'll kind of get into this as we go here. So let me I try to star as many as I can, as many of the comments as I can as we're going, and we'll see which ones I got here. Let's see. Deflating, frustrating loss, but Warriors deserve credit. They're legit. That's kind of how I walked away from the game, to be honest with you. I walked away from the game every time Lakers thought, hey, maybe they can make a run. Warriors were just better. Got an extra offensive rebound, executed a little bit better. Found Steph Curry or found Pajimski or, something went the Warriors' way, a tip or a bounce here. They deserve to win the game. Just simply put. Let's get another one here. DFS has one good game, and then he disappears. Let's see what Dorian Finney-Smith did tonight. Let's see his exact numbers. I know he only had 2 points, but let me see his exact stats here for a quick second. 1 to 6 from the three-point line, minus 14 in the plus-minus. I'm surprised. I still think Dorian Finney-Smith is one of the key players on this team, and I still think he's a very important role player for the LakeShow, and I think games like this he will step up. I didn't have it going tonight. But, 116 points that's enough to win a game. Just couldn't get stops, couldn't get rebounds. I mean, they had 69 points in the second half. Now, I think that's a little, I don't know. I don't know how much I trust that 69 as far as those points go. But I do think that defensively, Lakers could have obviously been a lot better, grabbed some rebounds, less second chance points. But there are also a lot of guys that didn't come through tonight for the Lakers. So that part I think we got to point out as well. Let's keep going here. Trade not so lopsided, and this is proof. We used to run them off the threes to AD, out-rebounded by 7, Leon Fisher. Okay, there are a lot of people very critical about Luka tonight. So let me ask Laker fans here. Let me kind of get a little bit better understanding of those who are critical about Luka tonight. Are you critical in the sense that you're not crazy about seeing Luka on a night-in, night-out basis, or are you critical about Luka just having a bad game? Because I do think there are a lot of people in here that they're going at Luka. It's fine. You guys go after whoever you want. I don't think Luka was impressive at all tonight. But what I'm trying to figure out is if people are commenting on how Luka's been so far as a Laker, or they're commenting just on tonight. Because I do see another one here as well. Let me see if I could find it. I thought I saw another one. AD would have won this game. Lakers used to have tremendous amount of success on the Golden State Warriors because of Anthony Davis. Everybody knows that. That was the reason why the Lakers were such a better team than the Golden State Warriors. Is we had Anthony Davis, they didn't, and that was the difference. And that's how you got W's against Memphis and against the Golden State Warriors and some of these other teams, whatever teams that the Lakers have dominated over the years. So just kind of curious here. What is the angle that people are trying to have here? Is the angle that they got issues with Luka or they got issues with Luka tonight? Because I want you guys to always remember this. And, this is kind of part of the conversation that we've had in the past when it's come to this year. Remember when the trade had just gone down? A lot of people, weren't expecting the Lakers to win this year. I was one that said I thought Dallas had a better shot of winning a championship this year before all the injuries, but it wasn't about this year. Obviously, you traded for Luka because you just found, potentially a superstar that's going to be your number one for the next 5, 7, 10 years, however long Luka remains a Laker. So let me read some of these comments. I'm curious to kind of get what people think in regards to that. Let's do this. Somebody just hit me on the chat that Reaves is talking. I'll highlight a couple of these comments as we go. Let's get Reaves here real quick.
At one point in the third quarter, they had, I think, 14 offensive rebounds for like 25 points. So we did good on first shot defense, and then when you give them, second opportunities, they do a good job of getting offensive rebounds, spraying out the shooters, and making shots.
JJ mentioned it wasn't necessarily what they did, but you guys not being able to get to the proper spacing or spots within their coverages. How much of that obviously played a part in finding that rhythm, and what's the challenge of finding it when you need it late?
Yeah, I don't think it was a problem late. I think it was more so the first half. There was just a pretty bad stretch that we, just didn't play very good. We wasn't organized, and against a team like that, most of the time Reds 1 through 5, but that second unit you had to be organized and run your stuff, and we just didn't do it.
What's been the biggest challenge when you guys have faced teams that switch everything for you guys?
Just trying to figure out what works for us. You see flashes of things we do that are good, and then we kind of experiment with some other stuff, and it doesn't look so good. And, we just got to figure out what we, can do as a unit to, combat their, 1 through 5 Reds.
JJ mentioned that. Guys, I just showed you guys film during halftime. What did you guys see or pick up on during halftime that helped you guys in the second half offensively against their switching?
We always watch film and half, a couple clips, like 7, 8 or so. Just things that we didn't do good, things that we did do good, and just try to dissect the game halfway through it to give yourself a better chance.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to keep going. We got a lot to I'm seeing a lot of these comments in. I want to get to some of these comments. So we'll got a little bit of chance to hear from Austin Reaves right there. Let's keep rolling here. Okay, let me kind of paint a quick picture here for everybody and kind of simplify things. If you think Luka has been underwhelming as a Laker so far, or you expected more, or you're going to expect more, I think that's okay. But if you think making a trade for Luka, who was 25 at the time, is now 26, who's got, a real chance of being a top 5 player in the league, hopefully better than that. For Anthony Davis, who, look, AD kind of mission accomplished what he was able to do here, whether, you thought him and LeBron could have done more or not. It's actually a good topic for next week that I'm going to put out. But I think it's fair to say if we're reacting to just a game or two and we're saying, hey, you know what, I don't know how crazy we could have beat the Golden State Warriors, but it's not about beating the Golden State Warriors. It's about giving your franchise the best chance to win today, tomorrow, 5 years, 7 years from now. Luka gives you that opportunity. He has not been perfect as a Laker. I mean, I think that part, I think there are moments definitely where I'm watching Luka and I am underwhelmed. I think there are definitely moments where Luka, and I know this comes with the territory, this just comes with Luka, but there are plenty of times where I'm like, geez, are you still complaining for another foul call? Are you going to get back on defense? I hope those things kind of go away with Luka, but they're probably not going to. I think it's going to come with the territory. Other things that will come with the territory is Luka in his sleep can give you 38 and 8 in his sleep. But he didn't have a good game tonight. So that was not part of the game. He did not have a good game tonight. All right, let me look at some more of your guys' comments here. Slee, this was a test for the offseason. If you don't have a bench contribution, you cannot make noise in the playoffs. The bench tonight only had 7 points. Thanks for the show, brother. AR, you're always very, very nice. I'm very appreciative for you to have all the comments or the supers that you have. So thank you for being a part of the channel. Thank you for being a member. I appreciate you doing so. The bench thing is a little bit tough because I kind of like the Lakers bench. I like Jared Vanderbilt. I like Gabe Vincent. I like Dorian Finney-Smith. I think Jordan Goodwin could give the Lakers good minutes. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, you had another big and Jackson Hayes was coming off the bench. That would be ideal, but the Lakers just are not in a position for that. I know there's some people on here also complaining, why is Dalton Knecht not getting playing time, this, that. I think they're just, picking and choosing what they feel like. They want somebody that is going to be more defensive-minded than versus offensive-minded. AR, thank you again for the super, brother. I appreciate you. Mitch Potter, most concerning loss to me, but it's not because of Luka. Off nights happen. It's because of JJ's offensive game plan and what he did with the lineup rotation. Okay, but let me throw this the other way. Can JJ Redick grab a defensive rebound? Can JJ Redick foul Steph Curry on three-point shots? Can JJ Redick let Pajimski go off for 28? I got a difficult time on the offensive side of the ball for the Lakers. My issue for the Lakers tonight is they really couldn't get a stop when they needed it. They just couldn't. When the Lakers needed a stop most, they just could not get it. That just didn't happen. Thank you. Offensively, things will happen. And I'm with you. Listen, Luka just didn't have a good night. Comes with the territory. A lot of good players don't always have good nights. You could look at it the other way. Okay, well, Rui played really well. He had 24 and 6, 9 of 15 from the field, shot 50% from 3. That doesn't happen every night. That's going to kind of come and go. But for me, Mitch, I thought it was more on the defensive side that was an issue. HH, thank you, brother. Just a simple 10 spot. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for doing that. Seiko getting in on here. Golden State is a great team. Let's not overreact. If we played our best game and lost, then I would have been very concerned. Golden State was even hungrier. Well, here's the problem with hungrier. Now, the Lakers, believe it or not, let's go look at the standings here real quick. They got a little bit of a cushion. Not much, but a little bit of a cushion. And what I mean by that is, of course, everybody kind of knew tonight was going to be a really good test. Golden State, this is the final game of their road trip. They got Denver tomorrow, by the way, at home. So they're going back-to-back. You're going to get Denver and Golden State that are going to battle tomorrow. And I think you're rooting for another win for Golden State. And if that happens, Lakers with a win against New Orleans tomorrow can go right back into the number 3 spot. And they would still have a 2-game cushion on the Golden State Warriors because they have the tiebreaker. So in a weird way, this wasn't a devastating loss. It just didn't solidify the number 3 spot for the Lakers. It probably, you're probably now out of the picture for the number 2 spot, which is where Houston is, unless Houston just collapses. So hungrier, they shouldn't be hungrier. Maybe you're right, but that shouldn't be, one of the issues here. All right, so you have to do something about the nonsense comments and trolls. Legitimate criticism is needed after games like this, but it's drowned out by BS. Only so much I can do on the comments, guys. when you're doing a live show and you guys are seeing how the comments are coming in. I've said this before. When it comes to the comments, here's what I'm hoping for. People come on the channel and they come on the post-game show or my morning show, and they just give kind of honest reaction. I'll tell you what we don't need. What we don't need in the comments is this, people bickering and bitching at each other and people trying to stick their chest out and trying to flex their muscles on the internet. Just, doesn't do anything for anybody. Try to have legit conversations, good arguments, but I can only do so much. If people are wildly disrespectful, then, I'll take action from that regards. But it's you guys almost got to police yourselves on this stuff. Mitch, thank you for the super. Vanderbilt needs to play more, period. What do you have? How many minutes tonight? What did we get from Jared Vanderbilt tonight? Vando played 13 minutes. Golden State is so smart. And I'm not surprised at this at all. And there were a couple of possessions where I saw Vando kind of get baited into taking a couple shots. I'm like, I thought Steve Kerr and the Warriors, especially in that first half, were basically saying, Rui, if you're going to beat us, go ahead and beat us. All right, speaking of Rui's talking. We don't get to always hear from Rui. Here is Rui Hachimura on the loss. Let's take a listen.
Once in a while for you guys on the offensive end.
Yeah, I think, we had a good start. I think we scored 15 points in the first 5 minutes. And after that, we kind of was struggling. But I think it was because of our defense. We couldn't get stops. And they were getting all this second chance, the offense rebound and stuff. So we weren't getting the rhythm, that was the problem. And the third quarter, we came back in the same way. But, they just didn't miss the shots, Kozinski, he made a lot of, big threes. He made 8 threes. Yeah, that's just, it's a tough one. And then we got almost 24 seconds, and Draymond make make threes in last second. It was a tough one for us, and that was a game.
I know you guys always approach it one game at a time, but this does make things just a little tighter in the West. Is there any additional urgency for the remaining games of the season, really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just every game, especially all those last games. I think we have 7 or 6, whatever the games. They're all against the West Coast team, West Conference team. So we gotta get all this, and literally every game we change. We just standings that are changing. So yeah, every game is important. Next game, and we just gotta get all this and then get ready for the playoffs.
Rui, the offense has struggled for stretches the last 2 games. Is that a byproduct of the opponent, or has it been struggles from within?
I think the team start kind of, we watching, they're watching films, they see a lot of, they try a lot of things with us, and they see our switching, they're basically 1-5 switching. And I think they kind of saw that was the, they can kind of have a chance. They have a chance to kind of close our offense. So we've been working on that, and we watch a lot of films. And today was okay. We did a pretty good job on that. But I think we have a lot of space to improve. Our offense. So we gotta watch the film and then come back for the next game or whatever the futures game.
All right, stop right there. That's Rui Hachimura. Actually had a really nice game tonight. Ended up with 20-plus points. I think 24 was the exact total. So nice game from Rui. Okay, let's keep looking at some of these comments here. We still got a lot here. Glass half full, Amir. This was LeBron's bounce-back game. I don't even know if I've mentioned LeBron so far. 33 on just 15 shot attempts. Also 9 assists. So that's a phenomenal game from him. Austin Reaves, 31 on 20 shots, shot 50% from the field. Austin Reaves hit 9 threes, took 16 threes, hit 9 of them. LeBron hit 5 of 8, 10 of 15 from the field. Really big-time games from the two of them offensively. I know offensively, or I know it doesn't lead to a Lakers W, but starters for the most part, you had everyone that was contributing. Jackson Hayes, not that much of a contribution tonight. Really didn't impact the game at all. Only had 15 minutes of play. And then we already talked about Luka struggling a little bit. Seiko, Lakers at full cylinder have a higher ceiling than Golden State at full throttle. Golden State has consistent momentum, and Lakers have been up and down. I don't know about that. I mean, I think Golden State, we're talking about the Warriors here. And just like the Lakers went on that run where they were 20-4 and defense was great, and obviously things were clicking and LeBron was healthy and the team was almost at full strength. It's kind of what the Warriors are going through right now. I think the difference with the Golden State Warriors is they can play small, but they could also play big. They have real size that they can bring in some different players to give them the size that they need. They got the physicality so they can get a lot of these offensive rebounds or tip outs. They can beat you on the perimeter. They could also beat you getting to the rack. They got a few different ways of beating you. There was a moment there where, and Jimmy Butler didn't do much tonight, so it's not like Jimmy Butler went off and had one of those games or anything like that. But there was a moment where Steph Curry was on the sidelines, and then they just kind of started going to Jimmy. They got. Don't be shocked if Golden State all of a sudden went on a run in the playoffs. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. Just like I wouldn't be shocked if the Lakers made a run in the playoffs. It's not the Lakers are an awful team. It's just Golden State's got talent over there too. And who would have known that they would start clicking, this early? Vicky, if I'm saying that right. Thank you for the super, brother, and I really appreciate that. And Seiko, thank you for the super as well. AR and Luka on the perimeter is the worst defensive scenario playing against the Warriors offense. No chance. Let's be real. Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're going to stick Luka on Steph Curry the entire time. But I know the Warriors are going to move guys around and run different screens so that happens. One of the strengths of the Warriors is their backcourt, so I know what you're talking about. And that's obviously not the Lakers' strength is their backcourt defense. Thank you for the super, brother. Seiko with another one here. Bron's still the best Laker. That should not be the case. Ooh, I like that. I like that comment. That's a good comment right there. That's a good point. That if the Lakers are going to be the team we need them to be, that everybody's hoping for them to be, it's a good point. That's a good observation that's got to be Luka. Because here's what I think happens. Luka's going to have the ball in his hands. Luka they're going to allow to distribute. Luka they're going to allow to make a lot of these decisions. If Luka's getting his 38 and 8 and it's efficient, Bron's going to get his. Bron just is. That's just kind of the greatness of Bron. Off the ball, on the ball, sitting in the corner, slashing, breaking out on a fast break. I mean, the LeBron's going to get his. So, Seiko, I think that's a good observation. I think that's a really good point. I think that is a good observation. Let me just put it that way. So thank you for the super. Okay, I'm going to get to a few more comments here. We're going to keep going, but let's take a quick listen. LeBron is talking as we speak. Hopefully I didn't miss too much of it. Here's LeBron on the Lakers' loss.
Last over a decade. So for us, it's like 2014, when they really started to get it going. So we know it's always a challenge against them and keep you off balance all game. And you just got to try to figure it out, which we did. We did offensively. We were really good, especially in the second half. We had 69 points in the second half. That was not the reason we won there, but to win.
There was that stretch at the end of the first going into midway through the second where I think you guys missed 13 or 14 shots. What were you seeing during that stretch from you guys offensively, and what did you guys correct in the second half?
No, we just missed. I mean, sometimes it's a make or miss league. I mean, we was getting some really good looks. We just weren't able to make at that point in time, and they were able to make, and that's how they was able to build up that 13-point lead at half.
As you continue to work your way back after the absence from the groin, do you feel like the second half tonight was one of the kind of a segment of the game you can point to, like I feel like I did pre-Boston?
That was the best I felt before the injury for sure. I just tried to press, get downhill. My rhythm as far as my jump shot felt pretty good today. Obviously, I've been shooting from the free throw line extremely well as of late, but it's probably the best physically I felt, so hopefully I can build off of that.
Do you have a plan yet for tomorrow at this point?
I would like to get a good night's rest first, hopefully. We'll figure that out tomorrow.
The way all these teams are so bunched in this playoff race, how difficult is each loss to take at this stage?
Well, you're going to win. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to win every game. If you don't, I mean, listen, we put ourselves in a position where we can, move up at times or stay where we at, or, if we don't take care of business, it's going to go down. I mean, it's bunched up like you just said. So, every game matters. I mean, it should be that way. I mean, listen, it's 6 games left, 7 games left, or whatever it is. So, that's good going down the stretch.
Knowing, assuming that you watched what the Warriors have looked like with Jimmy Butler since the trade, but having seen it now for the first time played against it, what did you sort of make of what they put together over there, knowing that that's a team you could see in 2 weeks pretty easily?
I mean, I've been a part of them making big acquisitions to change their dynamic of their team before. And had to go against them when they added Kevin Durant. So, I mean, Jimmy Butler is great. And, he adds a toughness to him. He adds a championship DNA type of guy. But it's always the same. They always figure it out. They always add somebody that makes it dynamic.
All right. Let's keep rolling here. Interesting stuff from LeBron there on, when you kind of do take a little bit of a step back here real quick, I think something to keep in mind. There's a couple things to keep in mind. Luka did not play a good game. The Warriors' backcourt was unstoppable. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch too many Warrior games. I don't know how many times Brandon Pajimski is going to have 28. Steph fires off 37. I know Steph can do that every night. It's still a game in the fourth quarter. I think there's a lot that the one thing that you were hoping for when you played Memphis, when you played Denver for the first time with Luka, when you played the Golden State Warriors, when you play OKC next week or this Sunday, you're trying to get some data. What do you have that you can work with? Houston will have a better understanding of how to play the Lakers the second time they play them because now they got some data. Lakers will be better prepared for the Golden State Warriors if and when they play them in the playoffs because they got some data. So I think that's another thing to keep in mind here as we get a little bit further in. Okay, let's keep going here. I know there's still a lot of comments that I need to get into, so we're going to do that. Before we do so, I do want to give a shout out here to our partner. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm, proud partner of the Sliwa Show, proud partner of the Postgame Show here. If you or someone close to you has been seriously injured or is dealing with the loss of a loved one, you should find out what legal options you have. You deserve the absolute best in the business. Of course, I'm talking about Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. When it comes to holding insurance companies accountable and maximizing case results, Brad Wallace and his legal team at the Wallace firm, they're the real deal. They consistently win big injury and wrongful death cases. You don't pay them until they win the case for you. So something to keep in mind there. It's that simple. We do have a URL, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, and you can get a free consultation there. If you want a personal introduction to Brad Wallace, I'm happy to do it. You can send me an email and I'll make a personal introduction. He's somebody I've known for about 5 years and is a big supporter of the channel and the show. He can help anyone in the state of California. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. All right, let's get to more of these comments. And thank you for all of you guys hanging out and being a part of the show here. All right, let's keep going. Comments here. Oh, I got a lot of comments waiting. Dalton Connect sinking further into the pine while Mark Williams is balling and not missing any games. Yeah. It's going to be interesting what happens, right? Because I was one of the ones that was saying, I think the Lakers were going to give up too much for Mark Williams. And Mark Williams has been playing well. I think I played, there was a podcast. It was The Ringer, Bill Simmons, somebody on there. One of his guests that he had on there or somebody else contributor was saying that Lakers will regret not making that trade for Mark Williams. Okay, we'll see what happens. I will tell you that definitely they can use another big, but that's not in the cards anymore. And if that ends up haunting them or, we look back on it and 3-5 years later, Mark Williams is still balling out and the Lakers didn't get the right big man or something like that, then, yeah, maybe that comes up to haunt them. But we'll see what the Lakers do this offseason. we'll see what they do this offseason. Let's see what else we got here. A lot of Dalton. A lot of Dalton people here. Lakers Clippers first round. I saw Brad Turner today, who covers the Lakers, covers the Clippers, but he's at a lot of the Clippers games. And I pulled him over. He's with the LA Times. I pulled him aside. I'm like, Brad, are the Clippers good? It's like, they're really good. I'm like, really? I'm like, I saw them against the Lakers. They didn't look good at all. And he said that had to do with some of the Kawhi was still trying to get healthy. Norman Powell didn't play in a couple of games. Apparently, the Clippers are just balling out. And maybe I'm the last one on the train here. I'm not paying too close attention to them. But they've won 8 of 10. I mean, they're in that number 8 spot. But they're only, I think, a game from the Golden State Warriors. I don't know all the tiebreakers with the other teams. I just know the tiebreakers for the Lakers. But, yeah, could be. I mean, there's still so many different teams that either the Lakers could be playing or the Clippers could be playing. So I got no idea who's going to be facing who at this point. Nobody does. We're all just guessing. Okay, let's take a look at some more comments here. Did anybody catch what the Kleber update was tonight? I didn't catch it. You know what? That's a good point. No, I was at the JJ presser, and Maxi Kleber did not come up. So unless there was another update, I'm going to check on Twitter. Sometimes, unless they did something post-game and they brought it up. But post-game, I was obviously here, so I was not able to pay attention to that. I don't see anything from the Lakers right now, so maybe by tomorrow we'll get some kind of update in regards to that. I am going to wait just to see if Luka talks. So if Luka talks, I do want to get a chance to see that as well. Let's get some more in here. Okay. All right, I'll wait. Okay. I think a few people got it in here that Maxi Kleber was cleared for on-court activity. I did see him. A little bit earlier. What was it? I think yesterday. I grabbed something from Jovan Boo. I put something out on Twitter. Or that was actually earlier today that we were talking about that. He was out there shooting around. I'm not telling you. I don't know if Maxi Kleber is going to come back, but I would love to have him in a playoff round. I really would. I think Kleber would be a nice addition to have here in a playoff round. Okay, I got a couple other things here. We're going to try to wait to see if we get Luka. Guys, I'm going to put a link here. If you want to be an MVP member, we're closing in on 300 members. That's a combination of people that have just signed up, $3 a month, Sliwa. I want to support the channel. And that's also people gifting memberships, which is incredibly nice of everybody who does do that. For example, I'm going to give you an example. Mitch Potter, who's all over the channel and is constantly contributing to the channel, is gifting out 5 memberships. So, Mitch, I appreciate you doing that. Thank you very much for doing so. If you guys would not mind considering being a member, tomorrow after I'm done with my morning show, I do a show just for members, 15, 20 minutes. We talk a little bit about the week just happened, kind of game plan a little bit what we're going to do moving forward. So would love to try to grow memberships and try to kind of have a little bit more intimate setting with a lot of the members. So a lot of people here are already members. Thank you for being a member, but there's also other opportunities to be members as well. And Mitch, thank you very much for doing that. All right, let's see if I missed any other comments. All right, Luka's talking. Let's get to Luka here first, and then we'll get to a couple more of these comments and call tonight.
Up in the second half.
I think they were playing good defense. I think we didn't play with enough trust, especially me. So that performance for me is unacceptable. When I play at that, it makes for the team harder to win. So just got to figure that out.
Look at when you guys made the push to cut it to 5 in the fourth. What do you think the difference was there that you weren't able to fully make the comeback?
I think we're playing with a lot of pace, causing confusion on the defensive end, slips, sometimes set it, sometimes slip it. So just making a lot of confusion with the switches, and that's how we scored 116 points.
Luka, we saw at the end of the Houston game, you took kind of a hard fall on your elbow, taped up today. It was wrapped up pretty big post game the other night. How's that?
It's fine. It's my left hand, so it's fine. I was shooting with the right. Look like left though.
And then you haven't had many nights where like you said, the performance is unacceptable. When you're out there and you're searching for momentum and rhythm, I guess, how frustrated were you in the moment, and did you feel like it took you out of some stuff tonight?
I mean, very. It's always frustrating when you can, help your team like that. But I think it's not always about scoring. You can do some other stuff on the court, assist, rebound, defense, all of that. So, trying to help in other ways.
When speaking with JJ, he mentioned that during when you guys went through the offensive lull, some of it was due to not being as organized as you could be. Some guys not being in the right spots. When speaking with LeBron, he mentioned that the organization versus freelance is not just important for the team, but more so the guys like Dorian, Gabe. They feed off of the organization that you guys can create, advantages you guys create. What needs to happen, or I guess who is it on for that organization to be there for a full 48 minutes and to not go through that kind of lull where it's not there?
I mean, it's a little bit on everybody, coaches, me as a point guard, I need to get everybody in their spots. So, being organized is very important for us. I think especially because of spacing that we have. And when we have good spacing, we're very tough to guard.
Last one. Hey, Luka. Over here. What do you think how important it is to have such a kind of a game now and to be prepared in this kind of situation in the playoffs?
Yeah, it obviously felt like a playoff game. Obviously Warriors, since, they acquired Jimmy, they've been playing unbelievable. So it was kind of playoff game. And now we see what kind of team they are. So maybe we can meet them, maybe not in the playoffs. So we just need to be more ready.
All right, that's Luka. Can you imagine that's a first-round matchup? Oof. I can't figure out if the NBA wants that or if the NBA is like, no, hold off. Let's get that a little bit later. We'll see what happens. I believe Golden State matches up well with OKC. By the way, just real quick, Mitch, thank you again, brother. I appreciate it. Anybody that sent any supers, I really appreciate it. Mitch had one other comment, too. Missed the point. Offense in the first half was my point. He was talking about the offense struggling, and that's when I was mentioning that, no, I think the defense was the problem, but Mitch clarifies there that he was referring to more of the offense. So got you, and I appreciate the super, and I appreciate you, like I said, giving out those memberships. All right, let's look. What was a comment that I was looking at here? I believe Golden State matches up well with OKC. It's funny. I was thinking about that. This Warriors team is interesting. It's the best way that I can put it. The Warriors team is interesting. And, what happens and what they do from here, I think we'll just have to obviously wait and see. But I do think this Warriors team is interesting. Let's just kind of simplify it. Lakers play them again, they'll make adjustments. Both teams will make adjustments. It's not going to look just like, obviously it did tonight. But you can see if the Warriors if they're clicking, it's a good team. Very, very good team. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Lakers 5-1 to end the season. Okay, here's what they got left. I'll tell you one thing. In order for them, still got a little bit of a cushion. I think the question is going to be, if you start looking at the final few games here, you got to beat the Pelicans, got to beat Portland, got to actually kind of beat Dallas too. I think that becomes an important game. I think I was talking yesterday. We were breaking down the final 7 games, and I basically said Golden State and Houston get a split, OKC and OKC get a split, and then can you grab those other 3 games? It's kind of the position that they're in now to try to make things happen. Okay, let's keep taking a look here. A couple more comments, and then we're gonna get the hell out of here. I got a show tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Who the hell set my schedule? Do postgame and 8 a.m. Hell's going on here? I go off on my own. I make my schedule even tougher. Golden State 7-10 in the last 10 games. Lakers 5-5. Lakers have been a little all over the place. Playoffs are a different animal. Let's see if they can step it up. Slee, what adjustments would you do before playing Golden State Warriors again? You got to get them off the 3-point line. I think sometimes I think living with a 2 against the Golden State Warriors at times is take your chances. I think playing a little bit more size, I think, would be a good idea against the Warriors as well. You just can't give up that many offensive rebounds. And I don't think it's always an effort thing. I think they just were able to push around the Lakers more than the Lakers were able to push around them. So, that's another thing that I would keep in mind. I also wouldn't overreact too much. I think Luka would have a better game. I think you got to find Luka, find better opportunities for him to get easier buckets. I think your bench got to be obviously much more productive as well, but I wouldn't overreact to the loss. Is that backcourt going to have 65 again? I mean, it's not Clay and Steph. Clay and Steph in their prime, so I think that's a little bit different. All right. A couple on Instagram, and then we're done here. We play too much iso ball. It's hard for the other guys to get going. Hate iso ball. It's the worst type of basketball you could possibly watch play. Another one on Instagram. Thing is, no one was moving, and we couldn't buy a basket. Roam the baseline on a 1-3-1. Defense wasn't there. Offense wasn't flowing like it once was. Yeah, there was never really a flow to tonight's game. The flow was always felt like it was flowing for the Golden State Warriors. It was always easier for them, and for the Lakers, it was just a constant struggle. All right. I honestly don't know. This team is so damn inconsistent. No game is guaranteed. Yeah, I am. I am definitely a fan of. I'm definitely a fan of. I think there are times when obviously Lakers are clicking and things are going their way, but those injuries definitely hurt the Lakers. But it was nice to see LeBron kind of get back into some action. So that's some good news on that front. All right, let's see what else we got here. People sending me nice compliments. What's going on here? What happened? I didn't even do anything. I literally didn't do anything. I was just reading a comment. Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. Slee thinks he's a championship caliber player, but he's never been a champion. Okay. Thank you for your insight, your comment. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So much I can do with that comment. It's great to have you here. Welcome to the show. That's awesome. All right, let's see what else we got here. We're getting to 1 hour. For a second there, I was like, we're not getting to 1 hour. We're getting to an hour. Guess I'm not a champion. All right, see what else we got here. Ernie, thank you, brother. Appreciate the super brother. Thank you. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. If you guys subscribe to the channel yet, subscribe to the channel. Now I'm just waiting for the clock to tick to get to an hour. Last time I was doing the show in this location, this spot here was like the headquarters of the cleaning crew, like the headquarters. I had 37 people behind me just walking by. It was the headquarters. It was the corporate headquarters of the cleaning crew of all of Crypto.com Arena. They were right here in section 117. All right, let's see what else we got here. See what else we got here. Still waiting for the traffic to die down. I'm also waiting 1 more minute to get to 1 hour. I was talking about Jimmy Butler. I still don't understand. Still got love for you. I see you in the comment all the time. I still got plenty of love for you. What's your view, Slee? Let me get you guys the view. There's the view. All right. It's the view. So there we go, right there. Still people working hard. And then you got me that's just counting down the minutes here. You think we get to 50 wins? What are we at right now? Amir, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. What are we at here? 46. They got to go. What did we say? How many games left? Oh, do they get to 50? Yeah, they need to get to 50. I think if they want to lock up the number 3 spot, I think they got to get to 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They got to go 4 and 2. 2, 4, 6. It's 49 or 50. But they need to get to 50. That's what they need to do, I think, if they want to lock up that number 3 spot. I'm going to get a couple shots up. Right when I'm done here, let me give you guys my game plan right when I'm done with the broadcast here. Right when I'm done. Right now I'm wearing gym shorts, and I got my gym shoes on. And, obviously I go skins. If I go shirts or skins, I go skins. And I get out on the court, and I get 300 shots up. 300 shots. Start from inside the key, work my way to the corners of the free throw line. Then I go baseline, and then I'm on the outsides of the 3. That's it. Right when the show ends, just take off the jacket immediately, and I go skins. Immediately, I go skins. I mean, I'm not going to do it right now, but that's what happens right when the show ends. All right, I'm going to get the hell. I'm going to get kicked out. I should do it, guys. If we're talking about me going on the court playing skins, I think that should do it. Lakers lose to the Golden State Warriors. That's the ball game. I'm back on tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Join me tomorrow morning. We'll see you guys. Have a great rest of your night. 123, 116. We hit an hour. Have a great night.